Hi everyone, welcome to a new video of mine. The first three videos that I posted were all reading vlogs, which everyone knows are super fun to watch and really fun to film. But I thought that I would make a video where I kind of let you know a little bit more about me. Obviously, reading vlogs are all based on books that you're currently reading. So I thought that I would just go through, as the title suggests, a few of my favourite things. I'm very passionate about the things that I love and I really like to talk about them. So I just thought that I would go through a video kind of going through a few of my favourite things. So the channel mainly is about books, so we're going to start with them. I've kind of, I go through my shelves quite often and get rid of stuff. Most of the books on my shelves are collected over a number of years into things that I love. I think I have roughly about 60 unread books on my shelf. So most of the ones that are on there are things that I love, but I've just pulled a few favourites. So an author that I absolutely love and actually pretty much has an entire shelf dedicated, which is up there that you can't see, is V.E. Schwab or Victoria Schwab. I have read pretty much everything that she has published to date, but I have to say that my favourites are definitely the Shades of Magic trilogy. These are my original editions that I have annotated and written in and just loved to death. V.E. Schwab is a genius at world building, but she is more so a genius with her characters, and I adore every character in these books and they are just so fantastic. But I think her favourite book of mine has got to be The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is my well-loved, highlighted, written in copy that I have read. I want to say I've read this book 3 times. It's well-loved. This book is stunning. Truly, truly a beautiful story. Much like everybody else, I love a good dark academia story. And I have 3 in particular that are definitely my favourites and probably everybody's favourites. But first we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I read this book 5 years ago, I want to say, and have read it many times since. I've read The Goldfinch. I didn't love that one as much. That one took me like 6 months to get through. But this one, so fast paced, such a clever storyline, amazing characters. Just, this book is fantastic. And then on a similar wavelength, they're all on the same wavelength, but similar, we have If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I love Shakespeare, so when I heard about this book, and I think I read this book like when it came out, and much like The Secret History, just had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. So clever. And then we have Babel by R.F. Kuang, which is in the Stunning Fairy Loot edition, and it's very shimmery, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I've read everything that R.F. Kuang has brought out. The Poppy War trilogy is incredible. Yellowface, amazing, but this was such a fantastic read. Honestly, I don't know what that woman eats for breakfast, but she is so clever. But this book was stunning, extremely sad, so thought-provoking, beautiful. So I love anything that Chloe Gong writes. If she would publish a shopping list, I would read it. In particularly her 2 books, These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends. As I said, I love Shakespeare, so when I heard about this book first, I was like, sign me up. And then I got it in a Fairy Loot and I was like, it was meant to be. And then obviously the sequel, Our Violent Ends, such a fantastic duology. And then, you know, we've had the spin-offs, and then we had Immortal Longings. I haven't read the newest one, Violent Things, because I just haven't had the chance to order it yet. But Chloe Gong, incredible. Next we have the Caraval trilogy by Stephanie Garber. So I first read Caraval when it came out, 2017, and kind of became obsessed like instantly. I have so many different editions of those books and of the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy as well. I just think that her world building is so beautiful. Just had to give her a little bit of a shout out in my favourites because they're something special. But I want to give a special shout out to Taylor Jenkins Reid in this video because I first read Seven Husbands again. See, I used to work in a bookstore, so I kind of knew when everything was coming out. So I read this book probably back in like 2018, like maybe a year or a bit after it had come out, and instantly fell in love. And then I pre-ordered, when this was coming out, Daisy Jones and the Six. Now I gave this one 5 stars, and when I first read Daisy Jones and the Six I gave it 4 stars. But then I did a reread maybe like a year later, and I was like, where was I giving this 4 stars? This book is amazing. And then when the show came out, I thought that this TV show tie-in cover was stunning, and this became my edition that I annotated, tabbed up, wrote in, destroyed. I literally wrote like song lyrics all over the front cover, because the TV show was one of the best book to TV show adaptations I've ever seen. I cried my eyes out at the end. I pre-ordered the vinyl, and in such a panic to pre-order this and make sure it was mine, I paid an extortionate amount of money for this vinyl, but we don't talk about it, we move, because it's, I mean. So honestly, I loved Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but I do kind of think that I'm a bit more of a Daisy Jones and the Six fan now. I've carried 2 series from when I was like younger through, and one of those was Percy Jackson and the other one is The Hunger Games. I'm a massive Hunger Games fan. I've been reading these books honestly pretty close to when they came out. Like these are all my original copies, and I have the Hunger Games edition that has Peeta on the front, and then I have the purple and white edition of Catching Fire, and then obviously the Hunger Game or the Mockingjay cover is the same. But it's so funny because I remember going into a bookstore when I was younger. It was back in a time when you like didn't keep up to date with when books were coming out. So I saw this on the shelf and I was like, oh my god, ma'am, that's in the Hunger Games series. I was like, can I please get it? It's such a vivid memory in my brain of just walking to the back of the store where the like kids like YA section was, and seeing this like bright orange like beacon, and that was in 2010. So I mean 14 years ago. I've been a massive Hunger Games fan. Obviously then we have Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Another one, when I read this first I gave it 4 stars. I was like, yeah, good. Maybe a little bit long for what it needed to be. And then I read it again and I was like, what is wrong with me? This book is genius. Such an amazing addition to the series, because what this book says about humanity and the worlds that we don't live in, but the world that we live in, like, let's be real. I thought this book was so clever. I'm so excited for Sunrise on the Reaping. Haymitch is my boy. So those are my books, but Hunger Games being last was for a reason, because then this is going to bring us now into favourite movies. So obviously The Hunger Games. When this movie came out, I became fully just like the most annoying person ever. I won tickets to see the first movie, so I think I got to see like the very first showing of it in Ireland. I went to a midnight screening of Catching Fire. I went to a double bill midnight screening of The Two Mockingjays. I saw Ballad on opening day. If there is one thing in this world that I can guarantee, is that I will be a Hunger Games fan till I die. Moving on to more like worlds. I'm a massive Marvel fan. I mean, I'm literally wearing a Black Widow hoodie. You know, I kind of grew up on Marvel. Like, my whole family are big Marvel fans. It's consistently like the movies that we went to the cinema together to see. I mean, I have a collage on my wall and there's another one over there. Like, I just love Marvel movies and the TV shows. I have some favorites. Obviously, Winter Soldier. Not even one of the best Marvel movies, I just think one of the best movies ever. So amazing. And then I have some favorites that are not generally liked by the Marvel universe or by Marvel fans, but Captain Marvel, Black Widow. Did we get this movie too late? Yes. Was it still fantastic? Honestly, yes. I genuinely think that this has become, which is really weird to say, like a comfort movie for me. I watch this movie a lot more than I probably should. So these 3, but obviously some notable shout outs would be to, I know they're not MCU, but like Spider-Man. He's one of my favourite characters. I have so many fond memories of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man when I was a kid, watching those with my brother. We used to watch those all the time. And obviously Andrew Garfield and now Tom. I love Spider-Man, and people can hate on Far From Home. I think that's a good movie, and I definitely think that that's a comfort watch for me as well. I've seen it a lot. But I think my 2 favourite Marvel characters have got to be Spider-Man and Scarlet Witch. WandaVision, I think, will go down as one of the best pieces of television that we've ever gotten, and I've seen it so many times and I still sob my eyes out every time. But these are just some notable mentions. I do pretty much love all of the Marvel movies. Then we will go on to my, I would kind of consider these my like top 4 favorite movies. First, from my childhood, we have The Princess Bride. There's just something so nostalgic about this movie for me. Me and my family, when I was younger, used to watch this movie all the time. We have Corpse Bride, my favorite animated movie ever. Such a beautiful storyline, and honestly just a beautiful movie in general. I am obsessed with this. And we have Dead Poets Society. Honestly, in this film, Robin Williams is like nothing else I've ever seen in my life, and Neil Perry was far too precious for this world. And then we have La La Land. I am a massive musical fan. This movie is just so stunning. I remember going to see it for the first time. I think it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. I went with my friend, we cried. It was a wonderful time. This movie, beautiful. I also do watch a lot of television. The main one is Gilmore Girls, which I know is on Netflix, but one Christmas my brother asked me what I wanted, and I always have a fear that the things that I love will not be on Netflix anymore, so I asked could he get me the box set. My favorite kind of 20-minute like comedy is New Girl. I love Zooey Deschanel in that show. I just think it's such clever writing. It's so funny. I also am a massive fan of Stranger Things. I watched that show when it, like right when it came out, the very first season, and have been obsessed ever since. I think it's so clever, so good. I honestly, season 4, I cry like a baby every single time. I'm so scared for the last season, but I honestly, I could rewatch Stranger Things over and over and over again. I just think it's such good writing. Those are kind of ones that I like constantly rewatch. Another one, again with the musicals, I love is Smash. And I'm so sad that this got cancelled, that we only ever got 2 seasons of this show, because it's just such good writing. Songs are incredible, particularly season 2, but I just love this TV show. And that, funnily enough, brings us very nicely into the last little kind of category of this video that I'm gonna do, and that is just gonna mention some of my favorite musicals. So I have seen a lot of shows, I have a lot of favorites. To be honest, I've kind of loved every show that I've seen. The only show that I think I would say that I didn't like was Blood Brothers. I just think I wasn't the right demographic. I just wasn't a fan. But some favorites. Dare I say that this is my favorite musical, but Hadestown. I've been very lucky to see the show twice on Broadway. First in the year that it opened, right after it won Tonys, and then I saw it again in 2022 when I was in New York with my mom and dad, and I was able to bring them to see it, which was so funny because it was their first Broadway show. They'd never seen anything. And I got us all tickets to go see Hadestown, and it's such a beautiful show. And I'm very, very grateful that I've been able to see this show twice. Another one that I adore is Bonnie and Clyde. I have seen this show 3 times. I was supposed to see it a 4th, but the tour of it coming to Ireland got cancelled. Twice at the Arts Theatre in London, and then I also saw it in concert in London with Jeremy Jordan. That is Jeremy Jordan's signature right there. I'm obsessed with the man. I will never, ever, ever believe myself when I tell myself that I have seen him in a show, especially Bonnie and Clyde. Another one of my favorites is In the Heights. I also love Hamilton, but there's just something about In the Heights. I just think Lin is a musical genius. He's so smart, and his ability to write songs is just unlike anybody else. And then another favorite is Newsies. I got to see this in London last year, right before the show closed. I went over for the day with my friend just to see it, and it was a lifelong dream to go and see this, and it's incredible. The music, the dancing, everything about the show is just so fantastic. So yeah, my room's a mess, filled with my favorite things, but I mean, those are just a few to mention. But I just wanted to make this video just to give you guys a little bit more information about me and the kind of things that I love. But obviously, the more videos I make, the more things I talk about, the more you'll get to know me a little bit better. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!